Good morning. This is a lesson on how to build a mind map. A mind map is a very important tool that we use here in science at St. Patrick High School, and it's really a way for you to read the text and actually get all the important information out of it. In fact, there's 3 points to mind mapping. First point is that you need to be able to read your science textbook quickly and effectively. I don't know about you, but if I want to read some very important science information, I'm not about to go to a textbook to read it, because usually a textbook is pretty dry, boring, and you know what I mean? You read a whole page and then all of a sudden you can't remember what you just read. And so what I'm developing here is a way for you to read the science textbook in a fashion that you'll actually remember what you read, and you'll be reading it really quickly so you're not wasting your time on details that the book might be presenting that maybe aren't important. The second point of a mind map is so that you can produce a personalized cheat sheet of the information in the text. It's like your own reference sheet so that you don't have to go back to the textbook to find information. You have one page where everything is centralized and it's just very easy to find. Finally, you want to improve your ability to remember what you read in the book. Again, as I said before, a lot of times you'll read a science textbook and you won't remember the last 2 paragraphs that you read, even though you did read them. And so this is a method that uses your whole brain to help you remember the key points and vocabulary of a test. Now, before I get into this, you're going to need 2 worksheets, okay? The first is mind mapping, or how to read your science book. Okay, it looks like this on the front. And the second sheet you will need is something called the left brain, right brain test. It looks like this. And so please take a moment right now, pause the video, and make sure you have both of those things. Okay, how many times have you been asked to read a textbook and actually do an outline of what you read? And did you find that interesting or fun? Usually the answer to both of those things is I've had to do that a lot, and no, it wasn't interesting at all. Even taking basic notes on a text or highlighting the book tends to be very just uninteresting and boring. And basically, you do this and then you can't remember what you highlighted. What I want to show you is this way to quickly read the science book and get the key information out of there without having to do any of these old-fashioned things like outlining or taking the basic notes. Okay, so to start off though, I want you to figure out what type of brain style you are. Basically, I want you to figure out if you're left brain or right brain. So I'd like you to take this opportunity right now to take the left brain, right brain test. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, and go ahead and follow the instructions on there, and we'll get back together and talk about your results. How'd it go? Let me tell you a little bit about each side of the brain, okay? Your left side of the brain is constantly in charge of your keeping track of time, doing things in a certain order, like following a recipe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is responsible for what you hear and interpreting the things that you hear into words and ideas. It's also responsible for your ability to speak, okay? Your left side of your brain specializes in words, logic, analytical thinking, reading, and writing. It's also responsible for your boundaries, like knowing right from wrong, and it really works well with rules and deadlines. Your right side of your brain is in charge of anything. If you notice something's new, it tells you if someone's lying or making a joke. It helps you figure out someone's body language. It helps you understand the whole picture of what's going on. It specializes in music and art, like your visual, spatial, or visual motor activities. So anything that you process through your eyes, through your hands, is done through the right side of the brain. It's responsible to your intuition and your emotional responses to things. And it helps you form and maintain relationships. So someone who's left brain would find themselves to be very logical. If you look inside of a left brain person's locker, you would see a lot of order, organization, or at least an attempt. I mean, I know you're young. So an attempt at order and organization, maybe you actually do own a folder and a notebook or a binder for every class. You have all your books there. They might be a mess, but you have it all there. A left brain person probably still has his assignment notebook and probably still writes down his homework for every class pretty much every day. The right side guy, if you went into his locker, it'd be a total mess. but if you ask him to find anything, he'd pretty much be able to find it. He might have one big binder for everything that he uses in class. He would also probably not be using his assignment notebook, just kind of relying on memory. And this guy, the right-sided of the brain, he would probably have more girlfriends than guy friends, whereas the left-sided brain guy would probably have more guy friends than girlfriends. The right side of the brain guy is probably spending more of his time on like Facebook and social networking sites, whereas the left side of the brain guy would be spending more of his time maybe playing video games and more individual things where you can excel and gain points. So just a little description of left brain, right brain. Okay, well, it's important to use when you're learning both sides of your brain, okay? First, it's good to know which side of your brain you're stronger at, okay? And now, using that information, you need to use both sides of your brain, because if you're using just one side of your brain to learn something, you're pretty much wasting that whole other half that's up there. If you use both sides of the brain, you begin to form connections between the two sides, which helps you remember things much more quickly. And that's what mind mapping is all about, is creating these connections inside of your brain and with the information that you're learning so that you remember it quickly and that you have a deeper understanding of what you just read. Okay, at this time, I would like you to have the following things out. This worksheet that talks about mind mapping or how to read your science book, your science textbook, and a blank sheet of paper. Preferably with a pencil, but if you prefer pen, I understand. So take a moment, get all those things together, and then we're going to start mind mapping chapter 1.